also watching our program, Dead Sea Goals. Have a good day, Sir Larry Ordonez. Thank you. You very much with our dear friend on Maui, Ray Patao, and he just texted me to say we are also on YouTube and Twitch. My name is Larry Ordonez, and joining me right now, we have with us Dr. Noelani Hobbs and Miss Clemen Montero. So let's go ahead and welcome them. Hello, both of you. Oh, just a moment. Let me see. Okay, there you are. Hi.
Hi, good evening. Nice to be here again. Nice to see you again, both of you.
So nice. You have big smiles. You must have had a nice weekend.
I'm sad that it's over, but it was a good weekend for sure.
That's right. It's a San Domingo manen ngamin.
Yeah.
Yeah, maragsakan kami unang da kami manen ditoy. Of course, it's importante dito yung topic para kada tayo ang Pilipino. Diabetes, kunada, but it's diabetes. And so, my name is Clemen Montero, siya ni Clemen Montero, co-host, kadwak ni Manong Larry nga ag-interpret para kay ni Dr. Hobbs, iti Ilocano, and, well, no need for English, but Tagalog. Tagalog and Ilocano. And so, ni Manong Larry, iti diksyonaryo para iti Ilocano, ado dagiti nauneg nga amuna nga sarita, and I will share with others in Tagalog, of course. But right now, we are brought to you by Aloha Care. Nagsaserbisyo ang Aloha Care mula pa noong 1994. Daytoy nga programa ti Aloha Care ket mang serbisyo kadagiti tattao Ilocano, Filipino, when uray anya nga klase ethnic background manipod pa idi 1994. Ket saan laing da kami ken ni Manong Larry ti co-host kami nga dua. Ti host mi tatakit agkansyon kinagsala pa isuna ni Dr. Hobbs, excuse me, kadwana dagiti doctors on stage. Mangurnong dati pondo para iti Bayanihan Clinic Without Walls, ken uray daytoy ket agserbisyo da kadagiti immigrants manipod pa iti 1997. So aside from singing and dancing, she is also a former NFL cheerleader for the Seattle Seahawks. How exciting, no? Right? Para kada
Very long
kami,
time ago.
but it's still there. The energy we still see, Dr. Hobbs. So para kada kami, for us, awan kumaday ito yung programa no awan ni Dr. Noelani Hobbs, akadwani tata this program would not be possible if we didn't have our doctora expert, ni Dr. Noelani Hobbs. Kablao, Dr. Hobbs, kumusta kayo? Welcome, Dr. Hobbs.
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
So Manong Larry said that we will both look relaxed. Did you have a good weekend, Dr. Hobbs? What was your main highlight?
Sleeping. I don't get very much of that, so sleeping was my main highlight for the weekend. So praise God to sleep.
One thing we need to mention, because I have lots of my listeners from Norte, Dr. Hobbs had mentioned last week's program that her roots is from Bacara. So all the Bacareños, hello there. You should be very proud. Dr. Hobbs' roots is from Bacara. The mom from Bacara.
Mm-hmm. Uray siya, ti Buridek me. Buridek is the youngest. We were on our way to go on vacation in Ilocos Norte, Pasuk in Ilocos Norte. My mother at that time was pregnant. So passing Bacara, she gave birth to my youngest sister. So we have links to Bacara as well. So diabetes is our topic for today. Very important. According to the cdc.gov, but it's an old data that I found, but it's still very relevant. In the 2014, it's estimated 12.8 native Hawaiians, 10% of Chinese, but Filipinos were topping it. 13% have diabetes. So Aloha Care would like to address this. And so I'm glad that we have an expert like Dr. Hobbs to let us know. So Dr. Hobbs, take it away.
Okay, well, let's talk about diabetes. Fun subject. Just there's so many things going on in terms of innovations with new medications and ways of managing diabetes. So it's a very exciting topic. And again, like you mentioned, it's very common, especially in the Filipino community. I see several times a day patients with diabetes. So it's a common topic and an important one. So diabetes, it is a chronic condition. Either your body doesn't make enough insulin or it cannot use the insulin you make properly. Now, what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone made by the pancreas. Okay, so insulin, what it does is it decreases the sugar. Another word for sugar you'll hear your doctor use is glucose. It will decrease the sugar or the glucose in our blood and helps the sugar to go into our cells so our cells can use it for energy. So for instance, if we're at a party and we cannot resist and we have this big bowl of pancit because it's not imas, okay? We're going to eat our pancit. Our body turns that pancit into sugar. Now that sugar is released into our blood. So now we have nangato sugar in the blood. So what the insulin does is our pancreas says, it releases the insulin, takes that sugar that's in the blood now from the pancit, and it pushes it from the blood into the cells. Now our cells can use it for energy, and we're able to lower our blood sugar. Now, again, when we have diabetes, it's because we don't either make enough of this insulin or we cannot use this insulin properly. Then what happens? Well, now the glucose cannot go into our cells and instead it stays in our blood, and now it's nangato in our blood, causing high blood sugar. Also another word for high blood sugar, hyperglycemia. So with that, there's different types of diabetes, if you're aware of that or not. But the most common that most of our kupuna and our nanas and tatas are going to develop is probably type 2. So a lot of the information that I'll be giving will be pertinent to the type 2 diabetes. Okay, and so now next is, well, how did we diagnose this diabetes? Most common way is a blood test that your primary care physician will do. It's called A1C. A1C. It's a blood test. Now, when your A1C is 6.5% or higher, that tells us that you have diabetes. A1C pretty much gives us your kind of an average of your blood glucose over the last 90 days or 3 months. Think of it as 3 months, an average. And when that average is 6.5 or higher, you are now considered diabetic. Okay. So now that we have diabetes and your doctor says, okay, I'm sorry, Manong, but now you have diabetes, what do you do? Well, important. The important step is lifestyle changes. We can have all the August in the world, but if we don't make changes to how we eat, how we exercise, it's not going to help us. So number one, eating our diet. Yeah. Well balanced meals. We need our protein. So don't give up your baka, your baboy, your manok. You can still have that. Okay. We need fiber. We also need healthy fats. Healthy fats are good. And then, of course, you can't give up your inapoy, your pancit, your pandesal. You can still have that, but it's about the right amount. Yeah. It's about portion sizes. So now we have our eating. Also, we have our exercise. We need to move, whether it's walking, jogging, Zumba, ballroom dancing, my mom's favorite, whatever it is to increase the heart rate so you can burn that sugar. Also, staying at a healthy weight. Very important to watch your weight and to be at an appropriate weight when we're talking about type 2 diabetes. Next, of course, a lot of our patients don't like is agas, the medicine, right? So there's different types of medicine. Of course, we have the agas you take by mouth, pills, okay? And then you also have shots, not insulin shots, but these newer medications that are out. Well, some not so new, but we have shots that you would take once a week, sometimes every day, non-insulin now, to help with your sugars. And then, of course, some people may require, because they're not making enough insulin or their body can't use their own insulin properly, some people do have to be on insulin. And insulin has to be injected every day, sometimes multiple times a day, just like your agas, your pills, every day, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on what type of agas it is. And then, of course, we need to check our blood sugars. Once you're diagnosed at home, you'll either be provided a glucometer or glucometer, something that you have to poke your finger to duk every day, check the blood, and it's a little machine, and it'll tell you what your blood levels are. Some they have fancy ones now where it's called a continuous glucose monitor. You stick the device in your arm. It can be in there for sometimes 7 to 10 days before you have to change it. And you basically just scan. There's an app where it goes to your phone, pretty high tech, some of this stuff, and it tells you what your glucose is. So you're not having to poke yourself every day, multiple times per day. Some patients like that better. And then, of course, you're going to get a test from your doctor. We help to monitor your glucose with your A1C, usually every 3 to 6 months, depending on how well controlled or uncontrolled you are. In doing that, also, we have to make sure we check the mata, your puso, your kidneys, because as we know, diabetes can affect those organs. So we have to make sure we keep those healthy. Also, that ties in with diabetes is very good blood pressure. You want healthy blood pressure and you want your cholesterol to be nababa. So sometimes a lot of our patients have to be on cholesterol agas along with diabetes agas. But the good thing is, it is a team effort. Yes, it's hard to hear that you have the diagnosis of diabetes. But number one, your doctor is here for you. Sometimes I also have to get other people to help me control my patient's diabetes, like diabetic teachers. This is what they do. This is what they specialize in. They're also called certified diabetic care and education specialists. They basically help to teach a patient about diabetes and how to manage. Sometimes if the A1C is so nangato and it's really hard for me to control, I sometimes have to refer a patient to a specialist called an endocrinologist. This is also a physician, but he or she deals with hormones. And insulin is a hormone, so they are able to manage diabetes. And then also who I really rely on, my food experts. These are my nutritionists and dietitians. Very important because sometimes they can spend a lot more time than your doctor can about how to eat, what to eat, and they can tailor a diet specific to you. They will ask you, who does the cooking? What do you normally eat? What do you like to eat? So sometimes they're very helpful in helping a patient with that lifestyle management which tends to be really hard. So that's pretty
Nagado,
much in a nutshell.
nagado, dagiti importante nga imbaga ni Dr. Hobbs. And so let's try to break it down. Manong Larry, do you have questions for now?
Well, I just want to remind, ay palagip ko laing, and you can say it in Tagalog, Clem, that we do have our Facebook streaming right now. And if people have any questions, we invite you. Awisan da kayo, kabilyo, dagiti saludsod yu, iti Facebook, bilang laing da sitwasyon yu, nga kayat yu nga maamuan, i-post yu da ita saludsod yu. This is very, very important information and topic that we are discussing today. Agsipod ta, may isa ka dagiti miyembros ti pamilyas ko, ni tatang ko, nagsagaba iti diabetes. Get idirogrog na, naggimas day talari, I love it, kung kunana, mangitugot kanto, and that's the pinapaitan, you know, the inside of, yeah, and always said, you know, I like to live happily and I want to eat whatever that I want to eat. That was a very common statement my father would say. Kakaasi kanto, dad, no, bilang tagsagaba ka da problemang ti salunat mo, better to take care of yourself now than later. Idikwan na amuan nga da diabetes na. Idikwan masapol nga mapan ag dialysis iso na. Idikwan han nakayat nga nga tumaren dagi ag agas na adula unay mayamit maysa dua o stone amo sursurutin na ni doktor kung kunana ni father ko idi. Learning from that situation, I take it seriously. So when Dr. Hobbs said our topic next week shall be diabetes, I'm very much interested. I am 5.9, I can tell you that. But
Good.
I am managing it because my grandson, who is 3 years old, says, Lelong is grandpa in Ilocano. You are close to being diabetic, you know.
knows?
He's reminding me. So I said, you have to take care of yourself so that you can take me to school when it's time for me to go to school. So how wonderful could that be? Big incentive. So, and I'm sure that there are those who are watching us right now who know someone who's diabetic, and sometimes they ask, oh, how can he be diabetic? Because he is slim, you know? I don't know if you have to be fat before you can be diabetic. Dr. Hobbs is shaking her head. So, this is a very important topic. Napintas natin nga pagsasaritaan tayo, dakkel nga problema ni komunidad Filipino daytoy. Kit sa palaing tamakatulong tayo. Ure may salaing agdengdengag nagbiboy iti daytoy akan ito ket matulungan gapo iti daytoy nga topic ko pagsasaritaan itata.
Dr. Hobbs, you mentioned earlier that there are two types of diabetes. And so it's a common thing. Parang maraming naririnig ko na nagsasabi na merong dalawa at ang isa inherited at ang isa ang lifestyle. So adu dagiti mga ibagbaga nga daytoy duwa nga klase nga diabetes ket type 1 is inherited and type 2 is your lifestyle. Meron bang katotohanan ito? Ada ka di husto? Is it true? Dr. Hobbs, so what's the difference between those two in a nutshell?
Oh, and let me correct. Actually, there's more than two types. So that's why it gets a little complicated. We do have type 1, type 2. There's gestational diabetes, meaning diabetes that's acquired when you're pregnant because you're eating for two and all the hormones, but it usually resolves after you give birth. Okay, so that's called gestational diabetes, but that person now is at higher risk for developing diabetes later if they enter gestational diabetes. And then fourth is kind of like a 1.5, like in between type 1 and type 2, where it's a type 2 that might kind of be shifted more over to type 1 because now the pancreas has burnt out. Please tell me, yes.
I have one question also because
Sure.
there's I don't know which one. Diya ka mo no anya ti type ti when you get older and you develop it, does that fall
Type
under
2.
one of those? Type
Most
2.
likely type 2, correct. And type 1, that's true. It's usually diagnosed in younger people, and it's because of some type of autoimmune disease where something in your own body has basically destroyed the pancreatic cells, the cells that make insulin. And so now, and they have to be on insulin. They don't have the option of not being on insulin. Of course, lifestyle is still important, but they have to be on insulin. And then type 2, as you said, it's more, I don't want to say acquired, but our pancreas, as we get older, it burns out, especially if we are dousing it with all that good food that we like to eat and increasing that blood sugar. It's causing our pancreas to work harder, spitting out all this insulin, and eventually the cells get tired. Nabanog, we're done. That's it, we're done. And
We're
then
giving up.
eventually we're not able to control that blood sugar because we're putting out less insulin. Now we roll into type 2.
Hmm. Dr.
So,
Hobbs,
Dr.
how
Hobbs,
can you
can you be slim and be diabetic? Sorry about that, Clem.
Absolutely. People think if you're nalutmug, okay, you're more at risk. No, I have my kutong-kutong patients that are diabetic. And in fact, those are the ones that are the hardest. Because if they're not nalutmug, I can say, lose weight, exercise. But if they're not kutong-kutong, what can I tell them? I can't tell them to lose weight because they're already at either at their weight or even at a non-healthy, very low BMI. So we cannot assume that, just because you are skinny that you cannot get diabetes. You certainly can. You certainly can.
can we increase the production of insulin,
Let
doctor?
everyone know this is Aloha Care's Kalusugan ng Kababayan, and we'll put up a phone number that you can call if you want to set up an appointment, know more about your health, and here's a message from Aloha Care.
Proud to care for our Medicare members with heart and a deep understanding of your needs. Our Medicare members get benefits that go beyond doctor and hospital visits and dental services. We also offer hula, lomi lomi massage, and a prepaid care card because at Aloha Care, your overall well-being is our priority. Aloha Care, your health in caring hands. For more information, call toll-free at 1-877-812-0249 or visit alohacare.org.
Thank you once again for joining us. This is Aloha Care's Kalusugan ng Kababayan. We have with us Dr. Noelani Hobbs and Miss Clemen Montero. Back to both of you. Hi.
So sorry for digressing, Dr. Hobbs. I have a feeling we're going to need more than two shows because I also wanted to ask about things that are concerning others, especially with the insulin. I would like to know, some people would like to know, when is the best time nga ag-injection da para iti insulin da. And also to take note that among daytoy, Dr. Hobbs, that some people have to take the pills and also will have the insulin. So when is the best time para iti insulin da?
Well, it depends. We have short acting and we have long acting insulin. Short acting is meant to work quickly, and you usually take it right before meals so that when you eat whatever it is you eat, the sugar spikes up. That insulin works very quickly to bring it down during each meal. So sometimes people have to poke each other multiple or poke themselves multiple times per day. So you have that short acting insulin called your mealtime insulin because you take them with meals. Then you have your basal or your baseline insulin you take once a day. I'll be honest, I see it vary. Sometimes it's taken in the morning, sometimes it's taken at bedtime. It just depends on, the brand sometimes, and also based on what your sugars look like. Do you tend to go high in the mornings versus do you tend to go high at the end of the day? Usually when people are on pills and insulin, I do have a team that helps me with the diabetic educator and everything else so that they can actually pinpoint when does Nana or Tata need to take their insulin. But yes, there is a best way to take it, but usually we tailor it to each patient. We have to customize. Not everyone's regimen is going to be the same.
So the doctors will let the patients know if they have the fast acting or the one that they will take once a day only. So masapol nga amo dagiti tao nga da diabetes na no anya klase nga insulin ti adda kanyada. Kailangang malaman ko anong klaseng insulin ang nasa kanila. So kailangan talagang magtanong ng magtanong. Masapol nga agpaiso nga as agsaludsud kayo kanayon kadagiti doktoryo. Always ask questions. Uray no ang imbagada nga, oh, this is the best for you. Uray no imbagada nga kasta agsaludsud kayo pa. Tapno amo tayo no. And of course, monitor your own body, right? So maamuan yung nga see good no masapol yu pay when no saan ken saludsudin yu ti doktoryo no. Is it working for you? So they will actually help you or assist you evaluate.
We have 3 minutes left in our half-hour program. It goes so quickly. I want to ask the doctor, what are the long-term complications of being diabetic?
Oh, that's more than 3 minutes. That's more
Not
than
only
3
that, but we'll be discussing some of that next week.
Oh, is that what it is?
Larry.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right. I'm
Well,
going
let's
ahead
do
with
your
my time.
takeaways, like maybe top three takeaways, doctor.
Well, takeaways from today's topic, I think, is know what diabetes is, right? We talked about the insulin and the inability to make enough or the inability to use it properly. 2 is make sure you know what your A1C is. Make sure you're having your doctor monitor it every 3 to 6 months. But you want to know what that number is because your other specialists like your eye doctor, heart doctor might want to know. And then 3, one important way to manage your diabetes is you have to change your lifestyle. You have to, whether that's your diet and or exercise or your weight. And then just final word, you're not alone. Your doctor is always here for you to help you with this. It's a team effort. And you can live a full, long, beautiful life with diabetes. It's just all about controlling it.
Mabalin nga at idog ti biagyo. When you lata no kasano yung i-control dakititang kanen tayo. So maybe let's go away from, because the most common way to eat pansit, Dr. Hobbs, is inside the pandesal. Starch on starch. Because, Sir Larry, that's how they eat it. Pansit inside the pandesal.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I know I would eat pansit with inapoy, so that would be starch and starch, but I've never had it with pandesal. Wow.
Agyaman kami manen, Dr. Hobbs. We are looking forward to a continuation. Iti pagsasaritaan tayo manen into no, sumaruno alawas, ket gapo manen iti diabetes. And if it's a needed extension, we might as well do that. But for now, we have these 2 days. Sir Larry.
Wonderful information. Thank you so very much. And thank you your time and your expertise on this subject, Dr. Habs, want to tell you this is huge.
Agyaman kami.
Agyaman kami unay, ken ka.
Thank you. Agyamanakla unay. Thank you so much.
All right, Larry Ordonez, along with Miss Clemen Montero, Dr. Noelani Habs, thanks for joining us, everyone. This is a program brought to you by Aloha Care. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
At Aloha Care, we are proud to care for our Medicare members. We cover more than just doctor visits. We also offer a prepaid care card to help you with everyday health needs. Aloha Care, your health in caring hands. Call toll-free at 1-877-812-0249.
This is Filipino Radio. Big mahalo to KPRP, KNDI, KRM Internet Radio for carrying our broadcast for Aloha Care.
If I had to live my life without you near me, the days would all be empty. The night would seem so long. With you I see forever. Oh, so
Ayat ko
I might have been in love before.
Ngempulus di mo makita Kaslak lamaan Nagbubuyain ka Ngamin Di mo amot at dating na Dake ayat ko ken ka Ngempulus di mo makita Kaslak lamaan Nagbubuyain ka Ngamin Di mo amot at datrik na Anyakit di dirigat na Nagkursanadang di nagkakursanada Laglag ka si kaapuso Taapay-pay lang nga iso Anyakit di dirigat na No di na among tamarik na Umanay aliw-luwa No may lawan is panaka Nagsakit no makikita At sa balik di taarpa Ketsika tay inggit anak Iparang arang mo nga isog saan na siya Dakit ayat ko ken ka Ngempulus di mo makita Kaslak lamaan Nagbubuyain ka Ngamin Di mo amot at tatrik na Anyakit di dirigat na No kursanadang di nagkakursanada Laglag ka si kaapuso Taapay-pay lang nga iso Anyakit di dirigat na No di na amot tamarik na Umanay aliw-liwa No may lawan is panaka
Biyang ko agawid at tulata, taparaken ka tiragsak amarik na. Dito'y pusok sikat iyar ara sa asna, kinadungo nga impaay mo nagpaiduma. Wen biyang ko agkawit ak tulata, tapno kagek na'y dulin ana pala basta. Uray no dagituyen tilini pati panawen, di ka madanagan bukod ko to'y nakem. Agawida kitagawida tulata, tapno di ta denam agbyag manen di arapapta. Umadawak ipigsa amang tapaya, ititunggal adang tinalupoy asaka. Agawida kitagawida tulata, day di mangga nakaikuritan tinaganta. Isut sa niyan asibibiyag lata di kari, uray dungteng tinadawel apanawen dintu mamkin. Wen biyang ko awit ko itat malaygi, uray inawis na tisulisog jak nagkiri. Di nakabailan ayat kukin ka nasudi, kasta kumamet pamateg mo din narupsi. Wen biyang ko agawid ak tulata, tapno kagek na'y duling ana pala basta. Uray no dagituyen tilini pati panawen, di ka madanagan bukod ko to'y nakem. Agawida kitagawida tulata, tapno di ta denam agbyag manen di arapapta. Umadawak ipigsa amang tapaya, ititunggal adang tinalupoy asaka. Agawida kitagawida tulata, day di mangga nakaikuritan tinaganta. Isut sa niyan asibibiyag lata di kari, uray dungteng tinadawel apanawen dintu mamkin. Isut sa niyan asibibiyag lata di kari, uray dungteng tinadawel apanawen dintu mamkin.
KRM Internet Radio, the Pls Sounds.
Umanaw kan saman sabay ngay bati na sa dindo a lugar pangipatsiyang kaniya. Tilay daw dawat ko, tinagto isuksukat no
My God.
Pumanaw kan saman sabay ngay batina.
KRM Internet Radio, the Philippine Sounds.
Alugar pangibatyang kanya. Tila'y idawdawat ko, dinakto isuksukat. No makadanon ka, Hawaii apapanang. Unana, siyak tay idadadumang. No siyak tay mabartek, siyak tay banbanyusam. Ling eday to'y rupak, inka punpunasan. Nagasatak ngatan, no siyak tay maasawa. Mapankan no biyak ko, mapankan jay Hawaii, ala emtoy retratok, ipan mo tapitakam, taatan to biyak ko, inka matmatmatan, no makadanon ka, Hawaii apapanang. Ay, mapangkan biyak ko. Ay, mapangkan jay Hawaii biyak ko. Ay, di lang kadikasyan na lumdang ang panawag biyak ko. Di na yung kakadilantan katingkan. Yak magawitan el. May gawin nga karubusen lagi tiluag biyak ko.
Naloko na.
Panawag ba? Ay, 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 ano saglat ng lilang angot-angutin? Uwet biyak ko. Uwet biyak ko. Ano saglat ng lilang
KRM
angot-angutin?
Internet Radio, the Philippine Sounds.
Yung ibating biyak ko. Ay! Ay, biyak ka! Di ba maplatan tayo plano nga pagluganam? Ay! Ay!
that you love me only, in that you always
We'd like to welcome you back on Filipino Radio, and I'm Larry Ordonez. I will turn over the microphone right now after I tell you that we are broadcasting simultaneously at multiple radio stations in Hawaii. We do have KNDI Radio 1270 AM. We have KPRP also joining us. That's 6:50 AM and 9:40 AM. We do have KRM Internet Radio over on Maui and KPMW 105.5 FM over on the island of Maui. This segment of the program is brought to you by our dear friends from Ethnic Education Hawaii, hosted by Dr. Agnes Respicio Malate and Miss Clemen Montero. And let's welcome them by way of Zoom. Hello there, everybody. Hello, can we hear you? Let's see. Let's see if we can have them here in our program. There. Hello there, everybody.
Oh, pag nervyosan na kamay, tumano. You made us all nervous. We were ready.
Hindi ko nakatanga bale, adan to music nga ron siguro nga ididikar na kada tayo.
Well, so nice to have all of you. And back to Dr. Agnes Respicio Malate. What do we have tonight?
Kablawan da kayo amin, siya ni Dr. Agnes Respicio Malate, Presidente ti Ethnic Education Hawaii. And we'd like to welcome you again. And my co-host, who you heard from earlier, is...
Nagnervyosa kami. I was nervous. Clemen Montero, co-host, kada Dr. Agnes Malate and Manong Larry Ordonez. And our program is Bayanihan Resilience Project, funded by EEH, or Ethnic Education Hawaii. Welcome, everybody. We have really interesting topics today, and we just happen to have Deborah and Debbie with us. So go ahead, Agnes.
That's Deborah with D-E-B-R-A, Aureliano, and Debbie, D-E-B-I, Tulain de Silva. And both are are experts in their field, so we're very happy to have the D&Ds today. First of all, our theme has been Bayanihan Resiliency, focusing on the support of the Maui wildfire survivors. And so we'll start off today with Deborah. Of course, the topics we'll be discussing relates to each other. So we will be going back and forth, and please nagdagdagan kayo no magbubuya kayo in Facebook. Ask your questions, call in, or put it in the comments. All right.
So Deborah Aureliano, co-founder isuna ken vice-presidente of the board of Kaibigan ng Lahaina. And she's going to tell us, she'll talk stories with us. Gapo iti Kaibigan ng Lahaina. And just to recap, Dr. Agnes, and Manong Larry, we had Nestor Ogale Jr., yes, last time. He's also one of the co-founders. And so we're glad to hear from every different aspect. So nasaya at met ta ada ni Deborah tapno mangyeg tayo met on her side. No anya ti what inspired her apay nga kadwa isuna iti kalusugan ng Lahaina. So what I was going to say, kaibigan ng Lahaina, but it is kalusugan. Kalusugan is health of Lahaina, and so. Debbie, take us away with this topic. Let us know.
Yeah. Thank you, Manang doctors. The goal was not to start a nonprofit. We've just reacted as you would, supporting family. After the fire, I watched my mom and dad feed everybody. We were fortunate that their house was still standing. And so when they opened, every now and then they would, National Guard or law enforcement would allow access to our home. And so our home, where I lived, I rented from my parents. They still had their siliasi, all their big bangas they would use to feed their propane tanks, and we still had our freezers full of food. Um, so they would go home, clean, except do the Danomijay Hotel. So they would grab water at the hotel because all the pipes in our neighborhood were not working because of the fire. So they'd bring water home and they'd cook and they'd bring it back to the hotels where we were all sheltering. And I would just watch people knock on the door, come with a cup, Tupperware bowl, whatever, how little it was. And I'd be like, Mom, you know those guys? You know, I'd see familiar faces in town, Filipino, some not Filipino, but Umaida. And they're coming and they just say thank you, not much conversation. And my mom said, no, I don't know them. Then why are you giving them food? Because you have to. You know, the padigo. And I just pulled from Central Maui and we dropped it off to the hubs, and the hubs did not know what to do with it. They were separating it, portioning it, and taking a bottle of bagoong and putting it in soft containers. And bless them, they wanted to share and spread, you know. But I was like, no, just give the bottle to one family. It will feed. It will be spread. I promise you. But there's a disconnect. And so we realized, Manang Eric, Tiffany Somero, who's been on the show as well, we got to do something. Then we realized there's a lot to do.
Ating Deborah, sino daytoy Manong Eric na ibagbaga?
Manong Eric Arquero is our executive director. He's also pastor with Koinonia Church. His parents are also pastors there. This is in Honokawai, more north of Lahaina. So they housed a lot of their church members, survivors, and they cooked. Right after the fires, they had their means, so they cooked and they just fed. And I think every Saturday was Filipino food Saturdays. And you just drive by the church and you get whatever it was they're cooking that day, adobo, pinakbet, you name it. Because that meant there was so little, but meant so much, And so that was kind of...
I didn't know that it was so valuable. Nga masapul da dagito nga nating. I mean, because we all adjust, no, urayan niya di adadta. But uray no, when we're adjusting, masapul tayo dagiti kasla ligo. If I say ligo, you know what I'm talking about. Sardinas. When no urayan niya nga that's common. Amo tayo nga. But yes, the vegetables are what was more important, so important. But
yes,
ito yung babasit laing, right? Just little things, and it all adds up. Nang runa para kadagiti na taingan for the elderly. So ang nga mga ti hamburger. that's a snack for us, para kadagiti Filipino. Hamburger is a snack. Masapol da nga talaga ti inapoy, ken dinengdeng. And dinengdeng encompasses all of those different types of vegetables. It could be Dr. Agnes.
Yeah, that was really a very important role that you played. And since then, Deborah, amok nga duty na tutulungan nyo and with the establishment of the Kaibigan ng Lahay na nonprofit. Tell us, before there was just maybe one bottle of goong. What is it like now, and how has Kaibigan helped in that respect?
Geez. I have to give our thanks to Ate Kit Zulueta, Furukawa. Sorry, she's married now. But she, with Uncle Rick, we got together and we put on Hawakamai 1 and 2, which I think you all were a big part of. And so more resources in the Filipino community, especially on all who flew down and brought things like more food and like tabo. Everyone lost their tabo in the fire. I think that was Tita Ime's project, right? Just something simple like that. Even a Filipino shower. It's just a small tabo. And then we realized food was really our foundation. And so I believe it's was it Red Cross, or we partnered up with Maui Food Bank. So we have something called the Padigo Project that just concluded. We were, so there's Ayuda projects all over Maui. So there's a lot of food drives that are held all over Maui, but this one is Filipino specific. So our Padigo box will have Filipino vegetables, also have some balatong, patis, I think there's some star margarine. I'm like, I want one of these. I don't have a picture on me right now, but those are some key things for the Filipino household that, we get all this food from Red Cross, from FEMA, from the food bank, but we need the staples. So that's one of the things we're proud of, and we want to continue. We partner up with local farmers all over Maui to give to distribute these foods. We had a palengke night where we wanted to. It was a night market to support our Filipino businesses that lost their structures, their business. So to bring together the community to taste their foods once again, give them business. We also partnered up with Maui Filipino Chamber of Commerce to distribute more vegetables.
So, Debbie, padigo in Ilocano means when you cook something and you send a bowl of it to your neighbor. That's the padigo. And so that's what they've developed so that they can spread out the food that they've cooked. So I like that usarenda giti Ilocano nga sarita. I like that they were using Ilocano words for this. So it's now a nice segue to your part where language acquisition is so important. And, Deborah mentioned it. And so, Agnes,
I think I wanted to touch base on that one too, the patigo. Usually it's reciprocal. Patigo ka, adamot ito da nga they reciprocate. So I know not everybody had something to give, but what was it that you felt or they were able to share? And it doesn't have to have been, something physical that they could provide, but so what are some of the things and the ways that each community, reciprocated?
Well, I want to add something to that because no adati malukong yo, right? You padigo, you put your stuff in your bowl. That bowl cannot go back empty to the house.
That's right.
So you have whatever you put inside, mabalinti prutas or something, another kind of dish. Uray no in na po'y laing when bagoong, it has to not come back empty. That's our belief, so that the food will continue to come. So the gracia dito. Anyway, I had to put that in because it's important dito.
Yeah.
Clem, I have a confession. At nagtagdo kanya anong jak kay nagluto. So dapat lang yan di cabinet ko dito.
Kaya nagluto ka nga uro na yung saimin dahil nga ipadigong.
Sapo nga, kargaaga mo na.
Can I have one question, please, to Deborah? So where are those people that suffered from the fire? Can you give us a bird's eye view? Where are they today?
If they're not in Lahaina, Uncle Larry, they're uh, probably displaced or they have moved to central Maui. Maybe their lives are still in Lahaina, though, like me. Some of their family might still be there, friends, work. Um, but yeah, or else there's a good number that moved off island. I have family that all moved to Las Vegas, bought Las Vegas. My husband's coworkers have bought in Las Vegas as well. So they're everywhere. I've heard of some families sending family members to the Philippines as well while they figure it out. So many different stories, different responses to the fire.
So they've had to disperse
They've had to disperse.
the states and throughout the United States and even back to the Philippines.
Yeah.
It just kind of hit me. Disperse diaspora, tingnan ko nata yung diaspora, and the disperse, I guess, for those who are not familiar with the word diaspora, where Filipinos have had to go throughout the different parts of the world because of job opportunities and economic opportunities. So this is within our diaspora coming to the United States. There is further diaspora throughout. And interesting how some have gone back to the Philippines because that's more economical. So and we're fortunate that, there were some homes they could go back to or relatives they could go back to the Philippines and be reunited for some of them who were maybe even ready to retire. You mentioned language being important in terms of accessing services. So this past weekend, we had a wonderful training with the interpreters' basic skills for emergency response. And we have Debbie with us today, Debbie Tulay. She's a program program director, excuse me, with judiciary, state judiciary, with Office of Equality and Access to the Courts. And we'd like to bring her on. I know she's been listening to all this and nodding her head in some places, vaguely recognizing some of the words. But although she may not be proficient in the Philippine languages, she is very much familiar and has been such an advocate in making sure that, specifically even in the courts, that people have access to language where they would have definitely equal representation and access to the courts. Debbie, welcome. Join us.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Yes, understanding a little bit of Filipino and upset with my, grandmother's premise of trying to have her children speak English only, so the language did not perpetuate down to me. But hopefully I'm going to master that in retirement. But thank you for having me. And yes, the judiciary was very concerned and wanted to do its part and expand its commitment to access for everyone, especially during a trying time like the Maui wildfires. The courts opened up as soon as they could. The chief judge on Maui was very responsive, and language was a very big part of it. We knew that many families who are limited in their English proficiency, especially in the Filipino community, were impacted. And so the judiciary quickly mobilized and put out a mass email and phone calls to our court interpreters or people that are transitioning in the program and asked them, which of our Filipino interpreters were willing to volunteer and step up. And we were so excited at the response. And we quickly worked with updating those lists and getting them to the organizers on Maui, working with Tagnawa or the law school that was going over there, and also with FEMA as well, so that the people on the ground at the Maui Civic Center and the one-stop centers in Lahaina at least had a list of interpreters that were willing to step up and interpret as much as they could at the centers.
Do you still have a good number of interpreters right now for the languages that you need?
Well, I unfortunately I can't say we have good numbers. I mean, overall, our program is thriving and we are enhancing, as Manang Agnes mentioned, things like the events that we partnered with Ethnic Education Hawaii this past weekend in putting on a skills building for the interpreters in Maui. We still don't have enough to fill the needs statewide, and our neighbor islands suffer the most. So, I mean, even in our second circuit, which is Maui, we have 85 Filipino interpreters over different languages, Ilocano and Tagalog being the higher demand languages in the top 5 of our most requested interpreting proceedings. However, we nearly don't have enough. I mean, Maui alone, we only have 5 Ilocano interpreters listed. We also have 5 Tagalog and 1 Visayan. So these are individuals that, for most of them, have other full-time employment or are committed. So of course they help the courts as much as they can. But we are still putting out a call for Filipinos in the community who are fluent in English and their Filipino language to help their brothers and sisters, especially in times of need, so that when they are not only coming to the courts for services, but also the hospitals, the schools, and in the community for any government agency to help us service them in the language that they feel most comfortable in, so that they can meaningfully participate and receive.
I was fortunate to be part of the training this weekend, and I really learned a lot. Oftentimes many of us as family members interpret for our family members. And I learned a very valuable best practices and what we should or how best to help them. And then Debbie can talk more about that. But what was important is also even just the basic translation versus interpretation. Interpretation, just being able to communicate orally what is being said from English to Ilocano and and Tagalog, vice versa. But also, although there may be 85, you said, Debbie, this for the Philippine languages?
Statewide.
Statewide. The judiciary, from what I understand, still struggles with a low pool of highly qualified court interpreters. And there were only like 2 of us, but I had a good time with Manang Nora Takushi, Cabanilla Takushi, in learning about interpretation and how to interpret. And we were laughing so much, but it was fun. So please sign up for future trainings. But what really brought to mind is we were talking with Nikki Baisa too. Why are Filipinos signing up to be interpreters or these training? And some of the responses, because they feel that they already know how to interpret or to translate. I actually see, I'm going between translation and interpretation there, that they already know how to interpret. But from this workshop, I realized how much more I learned. And I was doing some things naturally, but there was so much more that I learned just from even how you position yourself, and really that family members should, if there's, there are actually interpreters that you are entitled to ask for your family members if you're the one usually interpreting for them. And probably Debbie can talk more to that.
Yeah, I would like to know, Debbie, what are the steps of becoming an interpreter?
Yeah, absolutely. So the program with the state courts, basically, if you're 18 years of age, authorized to work in the United States, fluent, of course, in the English language and the Filipino language, you can apply to our program based on that premise. And then we require a 2-day basic orientation workshop. And Manang Agnes got a taste of that. She did a full day with us. But we require... Yes, actually, she got a certificate. So, yes, and that was a little bit more involved because it was a skills training. So, majority of the interpreters that attended are already interpreting at some capacity in the community. But we are just interested in, strong bilingual individuals in the Filipino languages to come and apply to the program and come to the 2-day basic orientation workshop where we orient them to all the facets of what it takes to interpret in the courts. What I like about the training is that it applies to interpreting in different areas. So it can still apply to interpreting in the schools, still apply to in the hospitals. We go through professional code of conduct, ethics. A lot of people don't realize that it's a profession. So there is its own professional code of conduct, which helps them to stay within their role. Because as Manang Agnes said, family members and friends who interpret all the time or accompany their friends or family members to, doctor's visits, the tax office, housing, whatever it is, the bank. Sometimes while interpreting, they kind of take on the role of speaking to the English person on behalf of, because they know the person well. And sometimes that can work against the limited English proficient speaker, right? Because we really want to encourage them to speak directly with the English speaker, and the interpreter be like Manang Agnes said, positioned differently where they are forced to directly communicate with the person they're transacting with. So there's little things like that you learn when you come to the 2-day basic orientation workshop. And if you fully attend, then you get credit for that. And then we administer some multiple choice exams about 6 weeks later, but we give you all of the materials during the workshop to kind of study. And then if you pass the written examinations, all multiple choice in English, then we do a state-based criminal background check. And if you clear that, then you're on our list. Eligible for $35 an hour pay rate, and we do a 2-hour guaranteed base minimum. So if the parties don't show up, you're still going to get paid 2 hours. If it's 10 minutes, you're still going to get paid. And then we also, like the federal government, we provide, a certain amount of money per miles traveled from the home to the courthouse and back. Or whatever.
So there's a lot of benefits that's around here. So we want to encourage people. So we only have about a minute more. I wanted to ask you both to give us a contact information or a website that they could go to. Let's start with Deborah for Kaibigan ng Lahaina.
Yes. Kaibigananglahina.org. I can put it also in the chat. But that should bring you to our Sawali program, and there's an intake form there. There should also be a phone number. I can put that in the chat as well. So anybody who needs help with interpretation or even navigation, we call it cultural navigation, if you just don't know how to get help as a fire survivor, we put it in there.
Thank you. And then we'll share that information also.
Yes.
How about you, Debbie? A number to call?
Anyone who's interested in our program, please contact us by email at oeac@courts, courts.hawaii spelled out, HAWAII.gov, or you can call 808-539-4860. And we'd love to speak with you if you have any questions.
Yes. And there will be training throughout October and November throughout the islands.
Yes.
So be on the lookout for that. We'll go ahead and post it. And,
yes, we will be back in Maui too in November. So, and we did receive a grant. So the fee for that is significantly lower. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of that.
All right, big mahalo, everybody. Miss Clemen, Dr. Agnes, Deborah out of Lahaina, Maui, and Miss Debbie. Thank you very much for joining us. Aloha.
Thank you, Uncle Larry.
Aloha. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Listening to one of the best internet radio stations around. You're listening to
KRM Internet Radio. The Pinoy sounds Maui, Hawaii.
Best music on the best station.
Dalawang taon na ang nakalipas mula noong nagkaroon ng Maui wildfires sa Lahaina, kung saan ang mga Pilipino ay bumubuo ng 40% ng populasyon, ay ang komunidad na pinakamalubhang naapektuhan ng mga wildfires. Sa tunay na diwa ng bayanihan, ang mga organisasyong Pilipino ay nagsama-sama para tulungan ang komunidad. Kabilang sa kanila ay ang Kaibigan ng Lahaina na nagsisikap na pagsilbihan ng mga Pilipino at mga imigrante sa kanlurang Maui. Ang daan patungo sa pag-ahon at muling pagpapatayo ay patuloy sa ngayon. Makakakuha kayo ng mga updates sa kung paano ang kalagayan ng Lahaina komunidad sa mga tuntunin tungkol sa mga trabaho at pabahay, mga kwento ng katatagan at mga hamon sa buhay sa pamamagitan ng radyo, info@kaibigananglahaina.org, Facebook o Instagram. Manatiling may kaalaman at alamin ang mga natutunan. Ang mensaheng ito ay dala sa inyo ng Ethnic Education Hawaii's Bayanihan Resiliency Project na sinusuportahan ng pondo sa pamamagitan ng Papa Olalo Kahi mula sa Departamento ng Kalusugan, SAMHSA Emergency Response Grant. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, tumawag sa 808-253-9946, 808-253-9946.